your take first on that meeting before we go into the real analysis of the outcomes?
I can tell you that the president presided over immunity and cannot stand the test of time. What happened on that day is quite distasteful. If you come to River State, I can tell you authoritatively that there is bewildering frustration and corroding vigilance. Lots of persons are not happy with the government. He had lots of supporters before that meeting, but that he went into that meeting and capitulated to the state capture by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and the support of the President of the country is highly, highly disappointing. First and foremost, yes, a lot of people will argue and basically the ebb and flow of all agreements that an agreement is an agreement. And I ask a simple question. If you go into an agreement with a minor,
Secretary,
can
please,
that stand?
just to interject, I think you should just turn down the volume of your television set or mute it entirely if you can.
No,
Because
the
you
volume of the television is turned down. It's
okay.
off. It's on. I
All right.
muted it.
All right, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And I ask a very simple question, which is rhetorical. Can you go into an agreement with a minor and expect that agreement to stand? The answer is no. Again, if your agreement as a public official is in contradiction, contradicts the provisions of the law and the constitution of the land, can you say you entered into such an agreement? So the agreement, the ab initio is nullity. What happened to me is political bludgeoning and the theater of tyranny with the crazy spin of lunacy, superintended, architectured by years of weekend, and superintended by the president of the country, who ought to, who ought to protect lives and property and also ensure that the provisions of our constitution, the provisions of our laws are well protected. But that is not what we see. Under him, we've seen the rule of law case and administrative justice rounded somewhere. Let's go into the issues right now. Now, for example, those lawmakers that resigned, that defected, there is a law. We are not talking of political consideration. We are talking of law. The minister thought he was smart to ask them to defect to the APC so that he was going to ingratiate himself to the president. You know, that River State is now an APC. But the president has forgotten that he's not, as a president, in fact, the leader of the APC, but the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and by extension, the leader of all political parties, and even those that are political, is the leader. And so we expect him to be fair and just. But what we see is the reign of injustice. What the president has done is to entrench, erect, and entrench, solidify the erection of the statue of the pestilence of godfatherism. Mr. President himself was the governor of Lagos. And we all know what happened under Ambode. Why Ambode could not even get to the election, or was not even allowed, because he rose against Mr. President in Lagos. And if you have the quick, you can even say, yeah, yes, or wicked there, embolden Ambode and told him to resist that pestilence of godfatherism. That what happened in Lagos State cannot happen in Lagos. Of course, we all know it's just, it can be dismissed as a contradiction of paradox. He said he was not going to accept the ministerial appointment, he was going to accept the vice presidential appointment. He accepted all those things. He said he was not going to bring anybody, whoever wins at the poll. But we all know how he said himself that even when he was fighting for Fubara against the PDP elders, where were they? He said it himself in the press conference. So we all know that he's not somebody that you can trust. You don't take his word to the bank. He was the same person too, who said he will never intervene. Once the government emerges, he was never going to intervene. What have we seen today? The same person who said you cannot tamper with us. What structure? You are talking of the structure. You have the structure of others. You have the structure of people. You have the structure of people. And now you talk. These are structures. Did you bring in people from heaven? Did you? You did not. These are structures that were given to you, that were inherited. And as a governor, you're the leader of the party. Even though I am strictly against that, when they came up with that, the governors are leaders, I prefer based on the situation. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
I prefer the 1979 situation where the president will even appear before the chairman of a party appears. Because at that meeting, the chairman is the head. But okay, the law now says the president or the governor is the leader. But now the governor is the leader of the PDP. These persons have defected. The matter was subjected to the clinical prognosis of the living man. The judicial pronouncement was made by Justice Danago. Justice Danago also recognized Edison Hill as a new speaker. And you're going back. The first question you're going to ask, what will happen? They defected. They've not gone back to the PDP. Even if today they go back to the PDP, they have defected. And by that defection, they have lost their seats. And you say, why would the president present a budget to just four? There is nowhere in the Constitution that they say that the quorum must be 10 persons, 11 persons, or 12 persons. It's, for example, now, you have about 100 people. And they say, let at least 60% of them form a quorum. Then you're going to say 60 persons. But if you have just 5 persons, and they say, let 60%, it is the 60% of the 5. As at the time they defected, they were no longer members of the House of Assembly. Even if the matter was not political. Because already there's a constitutional provision. As at the time they defected, they were not. So the government presented the budget to members of the House of Assembly under the speakership of Edison, because the court had pronounced him. So what Tinubu is telling us right now, that to hell with the country. And that's the problem we have with this country. That's why you have, excuse me, you have people, who never contested the election, becoming senators, becoming senate presidents, and so forth. That's the problem.
All right.
And so you find out that under Tinubu, the issue, the flourishing of democracy is shipwrecked. And why I say it is successful, it is because what you have in Rivers State, the matter has not ended. It's quite really so. The matter has not ended. We called on Mr. President to intervene. No doubt.
Yes,
Because
okay, because I was coming to that, Opunabo.
yes,
Everyone.
because we expected sagacity to prevail. Being the president, we didn't expect you to be biased. But you can agree with me that if you go through that document they call an agreement, that it was premeditated. They had already agreed. That's why I said political blood journalism at the theater of China with the crazy school of lunacy. They had already agreed before that time that we are going to, these are the decisions we are going to take and impose. No, it's not an agreement, it's an imposition.
All right, Opunabo, I remember that many people called, can I come in here? I remember that many people called on the president to intervene in this matter. So from what you're saying, whatever resolutions they have agreed on now is not were not your expectations from that meeting. So what were you exactly, expecting the president to do in all of this, particularly as it concerns, the lawmakers that defected? And I remember that the calls were that he should call Wike to order. That was the exact words that you were using. So what were you expecting the president to actually do at that meeting?
Concerning the lobby, the matter is a court matter. You allow the court to decide. If State High Court has said they are not members of the House Assembly, what you expect is for them to do on appeal, maybe to vacate that judgment. Until there's a judicial pronouncement, nobody, whether the president or not, nobody can overrule the courts. Nobody. No, that's why I said the agreement they said for the so-called agreement document they call agreement is nullity. And it's a shame that the president of the country will preside over such immunity. They would have gone to court of appeal. What they would have done is probably behind the scene, reach accommodation. So that if they go on appeal, maybe the Edison and Co will not challenge and they get a judgment. That's where the political solution comes in. That you have an agreement before, behind the scenes, but you must respect court orders. Otherwise, if you don't respect court orders, then anarchy is in everything. And we are slowly but steadily, atrociously towards that. Because what the president has done is to tell us that he is the law himself. Mr. President is not the law himself. He's not the law himself. And it's a very wrong precedent. But because, like I said, he's the godfather, he's the master of godfatherism, as evinced in Lagos State, under Ambode, under even Fashola. Fashola was smart enough. They approached him, tried to propitiate, and after he got the second term, then he showed him his real self. So he's angry that, oh no, we must accept this godfatherism. We must entrench this godfatherism. As I said, the entrenchment of the same statue of godfatherism, that's what is going on in the country.
Do you think
And we are going
if
to
the
be,
president
but
had
the
been
beyond Fubara. Now, let me also raise this point now. The law says let the governor provide a place for the assembly to sit. You strip him of that power. You say, how will the legislators now have that respect? Because we expect mutual respect and we also expect harmony. How will the legislators respect the governor when already they know that they have the backing of the side?
all right?
You should have sided them. You go to the commissioners. I let you speak because I wanted to go to the commissioner. But I know very soon you tell me there's no time.
No, Inko, but I wanted to come in here because so that while you're rounding your thoughts up and putting together, you put this into perspective. See, no, just hold on. The governor was in that meeting, even though there have been some, people who have made allusion that it could have been a political coup. He could have been, probably, brought in to that meeting without anybody on his side. Someone have argued that Martins Amawole was there, even though he had been removed by the courts. And so Edison Ehie should have also been in that meeting because he was also the substantive speaker. But beyond that, the governor has said, no sacrifice is too much for peace. I hear you reeling out all of these things. But the man who went for the meeting is coming out to say, well, there is no sacrifice too much for peace for the people of Rivers State. So, and I hear you speak beyond the governor that he is also supposed to have recourse to the people of Rivers State before making such a decision. So what is the way forward? Because whether we like it or not, this communique has been signed. And of course, people like Edwin Clark is saying, and blowing fire and saying, it's unconstitutional, it will not stay. So what's the way forward? The governor says, I've done it for peace, and people are saying, no way. What's the way forward?
The Clark is not blowing fire. He's not blowing fire. He's just taking facts. Let me say that. That is number one. Number two, the way forward is simple. I want the governor to understand this, that it is beyond him. It is not all about Wike-Fubara. Wike-Fubara only symbolizes the struggle, just like Abiola symbolizes the struggle for democracy. It is beyond it. So are you telling me that Wike-Fubara now sells government house? We are going to say he went into an agreement to sell government house, and that is an agreement. We're also going to fight it. We're talking of Rivers State. We're talking about state capture. We are resisting state capture. And that is what is going on right now. So we will go to court. Let the Supreme Court make a pronouncement. And whatever the Supreme Court says is final. Then we'll leave it to God. This matter will move from the High Court to Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court, the first court of the land. And let that Supreme Court tell us that yes, that the governor, the president of the country, the decision of the president of the country is superior to their own decision when it comes to judicial matters. If the Supreme Court says that, then we all know that tomorrow when they also make a judgment, make a pronouncement on an issue, we'll approach the president. And if the president reverses that, then it starts because we use this as a precedent. How can you tell me that you're going to be a commissioner? I will not appoint my commissioner. Commissioners are voluntarily resign. They must come back. These are the same commissioners that disparage the government. And the same commissioners will now be imposed on the government. And will they take orders from the government? Are they not going to be there to sabotage the governor's attention? So what are we talking about? You're telling that Fubara is a de jure governor, and Jason Wike is a de facto governor. That's the point you're making. That's what you're telling Rivers State. And we are not going to accept it. These persons, we are not there when the states were created. They were not there when they fought for the creation of Rivers State. So they cannot come and cause problems, unnecessary problems in the state. It won't be allowed. We're not going to brook it. So let us, please, let the clarity of what I'm saying, penetrate the minds of people and not to capture their judgment. We are not talking about Fubara. We are talking about the government. He cannot sell the government house and tell us that he went in an agreement with Tinubu to sell government house. And we are going to sit down and sign it. That's why can you go in and agree with the mind? If the agreement as a public official, you entered with anybody, contradicting the provisions of the law and the constitution, that agreement is ab initio null and void.
Okay, so
So
you will go to court.
yes.
You go to court to challenge this, I hear you say. But one of the resolutions reached at that meeting is that all matters instituted in the court by the governor of Rivers State, Wike-Fubara, and his team in respect of this political crisis in Rivers State shall be withdrawn immediately. So,
That's what I'm saying. Is it not the right of anybody to go to when you as you're there, as you are there, can't you go to court? Will anybody stop you from going to court if you want to go to court? It's a matter of choice.
so while the
If you
governor
decide
is withdrawing the ones he instituted, then you'll be taking the matter back
that's
to
what I'm
court.
saying. No. Get something straight. Okay, look at if Fubara today, I've said it now, decides now to say, okay, I'm going to sell government house to years of week to the president of the country, and it goes ahead to sell government house. Can't you people say no? They are challenging that sale. Are they going to say the man, the governor, because the governor has signed it and decided to sell, therefore it is final? No. After Fubara, there will be another governor, and another governor, and another governor till the secession of River State, which will mean probably we are going to break away from a country, or the secession of the country, which means there will not be Nigeria. There will always be governors. There were governors before him, there will be governors after him. So he cannot sell. Look
Okay.
at what the commotion that the House of Assembly, the Demolition House of Assembly caused. Oh, why will it demolish it? Why not consult the legislative act before demolition? But the most people also forget that the same members of the House of Assembly appealed to Wike before now that it was in a bad and sorry state. And he said no, because he believed that the contract was given to Amity as the speaker then to build the House of Assembly. Therefore, he said it was not built. It's on tape. It was not built by the executive. It was built by the legislature. So go and solve your problem. They're talking of local government autonomy. Was it not under the same years of Wike that the speakers and co said no, they don't want local government autonomy? Let's smell the coffee and speak truth to power.
All right, Opunabo, there's a part of this agreement that is in favor of Governor Wike-Fubara, and that is that
No impeachment. No
all
impeachment.
impeachment
No
proceedings
impeachment.
initiated against the governor of Rivers State by the Rivers State House of Assembly should be dropped immediately.
So now we'll just put an end to impeachment if they sincerely want to. Can't you see that that is just a decoy? It's just a subterfuge. It's just to deceive him. Then when you go, okay, they are still members of APC. Then when they go, and when they sit after a while, they now come up with, oh, the House of Assembly was demolished without let us go into it. Because what the president has done is to say that the 27 members who were suspended did not approve of that demolition. Therefore, the demolition itself is wrong. No, they are just coming up with Google traps. Then after a while, after about 6 months, they now say, oh, we are not happy here. We are looking into the demolition of that. Because the man you're talking about, Wike, is a very good person. And he said, let us see how it will end. Your pressmen were there. So we are not talking about an individual now. We are talking about an institution. Let's get it right. It's not an individual. That's why he said, oh, it's he signed and signed, and so what? And so what? So if somebody walks into your house, that's why I say political bludgeoning. If somebody walks into your house with a gun to your head and asks you to give him your I'm trying to get the word again, your jewelries, and you bring out the jewelry, you walk into your room and give to him. Then tomorrow he tells you, after all, you gave me the jewelries. And did I walk into you? Did I know where you kept them? You gave me those jewelries. No. It's duress. Duress is not acceptable. So if Fubara today gets up to say, look, no problem. You cannot even say you cannot even institute. I'm the governor. He does not have the powers. Let the court make a pronouncement and say, yes, you cannot. Then we know. And it will be cited. And we will leave the justices of the Supreme Court to their faith and to their conscience. We must allow institutions to work. It's not about the individual. those who fought for democracy that we ought to be enjoying, but we're not enjoying. Fought alongside with MK Abiola, but he symbolized the chaos. The fiasco today is under Fubara. And that's why you keep hearing the government, government. But it's not about Fubara. It's about the structure. Where a man, before you sign a mandate, you have to go to the predecessor. Before you cannot look at the appointment of the Commission for Information is part of the problem. How dare you appoint the Commission for Information Commissioner without my consent? Now you're telling me again, you're imposing those that resigned on you again. Is that not dictatorship? And you have a president who ought to be the father superintending over that. Condoning it.
Opunabo, there's another, argument or angle to this debate out there. When you hear Nigerians debating, some for, some against. Some have said that, when Fubara was accepting to be solely sponsored, and put in there as the governor of Rivers State, that he should have known that, he has to be loyal to somebody who has, done everything to bring him to power, even against his own will.
Let me quickly answer that. Sorry, because I'm conscious of time. Let me quickly answer that. First and foremost, we have one understanding of legal. Adora, are you telling me now that during your wedding, people did not play major roles? And so because they played major roles, somebody will walk into the house, into your bedroom, maternal bedroom, to say they want to have something to do with you, and your husband will watch to say they played major roles. Oh. Then again, when we talk of loyalty, are we loyal to individuals or loyal to the Constitution? Did we swear to protect the interest of the Godfather or the interest of the people and the Constitution? That's why it says you have words. And it is because persons with distorted perception of life they accidentally discharge onto the political surface in 1970. The decent men stayed away. And that's why we have this problem. Then we had robust conversations and arguments. We sat down and superior reasoning prevailed. Now, no. Whatever the governor says, whatever the president says, is final. Whether good or bad. Then when you leave that meeting, you hear what you do now. You want to put yourself like that. No, do it. You not talk. Now it's my government leaver. Forgetting it has this backlash, boomerang effect. Is the president, is the governor, let it be for now. After 4 years, we'll elect somebody. After 4 years, it's going to bring in a stooge, and we'll continue with that election. And you start crying that the economy is bad. You start crying that the judiciary is corrupt. You start crying, what are we doing? Like the state legislators, are they even legislators? I call them Ministry of Lawmaking. Tell me, in legislative assembly, an assembly that will go against a sitting governor and will not run into problems. Was that the kind of government we had in 1979? No, of course. So when you talk of loyalty, you're not talking of loyalty to the individual. You respect the individual for the role you play. But if the role that individual plays, and if the role after your emergence, the role is played, is antithetical to democratic norms and the constitution and the laws of the country, you should be bold enough to resist it.
Absolutely. Inko.
Don't forget at the end of the day, they're not going to ask, what role did your godfather play? They will ask, what role did you play as a governor of as a president? Don't forget. Absolutely. If your administration is good, you take the credit. If it is bad, you take the blame.
All right.
We will not talk about the God.
Okay. Just so as we wade in here, because I'm sure it will be time for Kakaki socials soon. I mean, the conflict and the drama between Godfather and Godson is a classic storyline in Nigerian politics. It's not something, and it was in the past, so it is now, and so it could still be in the future, except if we demonetize politics, Inko. And that's what a lot of people are saying. Because all of this is about interest, money role play,
and how I sponsored elections. So how do we go from here, where we are now, to looking at this being a symbol, a litmus test, a light at the end of the tunnel to see how we can demonetize our politics? Because people that are calling the president are turning him to a dictator. However, he stayed on his own and they say, Mr. President, come and wade in Rivers. Mr. President, come and wade in Ondo. Mr. President, come and wade in Kano. And then when he wades in, automatically they turn his outcomes to that of dictatorship. Meanwhile, these politicians, some would say, are badly behaved politicians who should fix their house in order before calling Mr. President. So how do we look at demonetizing politics so that we can reduce the effect of godfatherism?
Before I go into that, you have foods in the house. There's nothing wrong with calling on the president. That is, in fact, respecting the office of it. It is seeing the president as a father. You have 2 kids at home. Maybe they're fighting or something. Or you have 3, and the third one says, Mommy, come, Mommy, come, they're fighting. Then you come in. What are you expected to do? To say the truth the way it is. So that they also learn from it. So there's nothing wrong in inviting the person. But you will not come in to say, oh, the one that is wrong is wrong, because that is your favorite child. And the one that is right is wrong, because that is not your favorite child. No, you don't do that. Because you're sowing the seed of discord for life. Because they'll grow with it. And tomorrow you see brothers killing brothers, siblings killing siblings. You start blaming them. You are the one that is responsible for that. You might not even be alive.
All right, Opunabo. We have to come back to this discussion. Yes, we'll come back definitely to wrap up on this, your thoughts, and then your concluding, speech on this matter. But we need to take a quick break to take Nigerians to the social media space for reactions. And I know River State issue would also be up for discussion. So we'll conclude on that when we return. All right, thank you so much for staying with us. We'll be concluding our discussion on the Rivers State issue. And we still have Opunabo right here with us, a political analyst. Inko, before we went on that short break, wrap up on your points and then tell us how you think, all this can be resolved. Particularly, people are thinking that the PDP should have put itself in order before now, instead of involving the president, who obviously is of another party entirely, to help them, solve their problem.
I listened to the PDP speak. I'm so happy that I'm not politically hinged. In other words, I don't belong to any deliberately so. I listened to the PDP speak, and I just dismissed it as a high blood pressure of deceptive rhetorics and enemy of country. This has been on for about a year, and they did nothing. It is now that they are coming out to say we are going to take steps, and they not even there was no moratorium. They said very soon they are going to take steps. So just let's discuss that. We're not talking about the Philippines. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in Rivers State. I'm interested in the people of Rivers State. So I don't want to talk about it. Whatever it wants to let it do. The PDP, unfortunately, is very unserious, quite unserious, and I want to believe that there is something that is holding them back, and they are yet to tell the public. Very soon we'll go. They say the moon will slowly, but I did better process. Yes.
Okay, so that's how you want to wrap up the discussion today?
Oh, we wrap up. Okay. I just want Nigerians to know that we are not going to condone this. We are going to see the end of it. And it is going to go through the long haul of the judiciary. We expect a pronouncement. Whatever the Supreme Court says is final. If the Supreme Court today tells us that whatever the president says overrules whatever the decision, okay, fine. If the president is now the last court of the land, the high court of the land, so fine. But we should know that Good Friday might be on the throne for a day, but will definitely give way to the drums, beats, and trumpets of the Sunday. The moon moves slowly by David to discuss. We are yet to see the end of this. I urge my neighbors not to be despondent. Yes, their hopes are dashed. The promise of a flourishing democracy is shipwrecked. But there is light at the end of the tunnel if we remain steadfast and faithful, not to individuals, but to the country and our constitution.
Whether Fubara likes it or not. Interesting.
That's what our business.
So it's not about him It's about the state and it's about the people. Absolutely. All right, thank you so much, Nkutara. It's been great talking to you as always, and I'm wishing you all the best. And I hope that some of these outcomes would, find the light of day at the end of the day.
Thank you.